Don't tell them while they're... Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the General Store. We're glad that you're back with us again this week from the 70 times 7 studio, because we are to forgive 70 times 7.
That's right. That's right.
And so that's pretty good advice. Hard to do, but good advice.
Right.
We got a lot to get to, and we'll get to that right after we say hello to some good old boys and good old gals.
Yeah, we've got a ton of people, of course, giving us all kinds of encouragement and saying nice things and rooting us on, if you will, and
virtual high fives, if you will.
Yes, a lot of these people have been with us, for the past 20 years,
right.
And it's really good that they followed us into the podcast. And
we love it.
Absolutely, and I just wanted to give a shout out today. The first one on my list. Now, these are top fans, okay, and not
nice.
decided by me, okay, not decided by me. This is Facebook.
The Facebook
they get the badge
with these.
They get the badge.
They get the badge.
And they get a badge.
You
Yeah,
get a
top
badge.
fan badge.
Yeah.
So it's how much they've engaged our Facebook page and how much they've reached out, how much encouragement they. I don't know. So talk to Mark Zuckerberg about it. I don't know. So there's
well, or no, just engage more, and you'll be a top fan too.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely. So the first one on my list here is named Leah Williams. I don't know. Does anybody know who Leah Williams is?
I don't know. It sounds familiar.
I'm thinking Bill might know who that is.
Yeah, that's my daughter-in-law.
Okay,
She's a
fantastic.
sweetie.
Nice, she
Absolutely, and she is a top fan along with Barbara White, Robin Murphy, Alan Brown, Bill Grubbs, Pam Waterford of
Nice.
High Sierra fame.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Great musician and singer.
Absolutely. She's reaching out. She's supporting us. Marilyn Clark, Missy LaBrash, Kelly Williams, Brett Kading, Bill Goodman, and John Hooker. So,
Very good. Thank you. And we
we've-
have more top fans, and we'll get to those as the
That's
shows
right.
go on.
That's
so.
right. So love to mention those folks who are helping us.
Some
and,
good old
supporting
boys
us.
and good old
And I've
girls.
got one special shout out to a cousin,
Yes.
Sarah Raper Kwasny, who lives in Houston, Texas, and works for NASA.
And
So
she's watching the
she's
podcast
pretty
too?
cool, yeah.
Or listening. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Well, that's awesome.
And Missy at LaBrash, she's my neighbor.
No kidding.
Yeah, she's good people.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
That's very,
Got a
very
bunch
good.
of good people
That's awesome.
listening.
Well, we just appreciate you so much. And as this community grows, we hope that you'll be a part of making it grow by sharing and liking, sharing, subscribing, all those things. If you could share them to your socials, especially those who are maybe, we have a lot of support local, which we love, but we're trying to reach out.
Oh, yeah.
We want to know who else misses Mayberry, and
We know we do.
We know we do.
That's right. And
Say it again. Say it again. Jude.
So sometime near in the future, we're going to be getting business cards. And these business cards are going to have our photo on it and a QR code on the back of it.
Nice.
So I know all four of us have had conversations with folks about the podcast.
Yeah.
And, they'll ask and they'll say something or they'll hear something. And,
Oh, where can we watch
it's-
or where can we
exactly.
listen?
It's like, well, do you have a pen and paper? We could write it down. It's just going to be a
We're gonna
QR code. And if you don't know how to do a QR code, ask one of your kids.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
They'll help you. They'll help you.
Even I can do it.
Exactly.
That tells you something right
So we'll be able to do that, and I want to challenge the four of us that if somebody, if one of our listeners or viewers or fans or subbies asks, and we don't give them a card, then we owe money to the penalty jar or something like that.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah,
I like it.
raising money for Mike and Carter's future.
Now, yeah. Speaking of Mike and Carter, thank you to our producers.
absolutely.
Doing always
Absolutely.
a great job.
Yes, indeed.
We could not do it without them. All right, guys, let's get into this. So, and I hope if I'm mistaken about this, I apologize. And if I am mistaken about it, let me know. But I believe it was Faith Campbell, who I'm sure is a top fan. She's been with us from the beginning, great faithful listener from the radio days. But she asked if we could discuss. Let me set up the scenario. So you're sitting at a stop and go light, and you're turning right, and you're turning into 2 lanes, right? So you're supposed to stay in the lane closest to you as you turn. You're not really supposed to go wide, even if you need to be in the left lane for maybe an upcoming left-hand turn.
Correct.
You're supposed to get in that right lane
And then signal.
and safely.
Yes.
Once you're got people, wherever they're at behind you, signal and turn, then get in the left lane.
Correct.
And I do this. I do actually do that. The problem is a lot of people don't. And so what happens is you're getting in the right lane. The guy behind you is taking that wide and getting in that left lane. And then when you're trying to move over, you've got somebody coming right up on you. It can cause an accident, all those things. So what is the correct way to do it? And is that whatever it is it federal law? Is it
State law.
It's just per state.
Yes.
Okay. So
I think all states are the same as
It
far
is.
as my knowledge.
It is, but I would tell, especially new drivers or any driver that has a question about it, when you're changing lanes, always assume that there's going to be somebody.
right, trying to
Somebody's
beat you.
going to be right there. They're going to be right there. Always assume that, and you really can't go wrong, because a lot of times there is somebody right there who is thinking that they have a position, they have the lead there to get in there. So you need to do the turn signal, and obviously what you were saying about turning right. And I don't know if you weren't talking about a one-way street.
No, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just the first lane that you come to.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and then establish that position, turn on your turn signal, and then move. But again, always, and that's for if you're backing up in a parked position at the mall, anywhere. Always assume there's going to be somebody walking or somebody driving right behind you.
And the newer vehicles, they've got what they call bliss, which activates a light, which if they're in your blind
Oh, and it
spot, will
beeps
show
at you
that you're
or-
there. Yeah, that there's somebody in that
beautiful
lane.
thing.
It is a good idea. Very nice.
I don't want anybody to rely on it.
No,
but it's a
'cause
nice little
Right.
extra,
Right.
nice little addition to say, hey,
Kind of grabs your attention.
yeah. And that's true. Like if you're on the interstate too, and they come
Right.
they come to pass
Yes,
you,
yeah.
that light goes on.
Yeah. I mean, we probably all do now. Is your rear view mirrors will
Right.
flash a little bit too
Right.
if they're in your blind spot.
Right.
Which is a great safety feature.
Yeah. I think I don't know. It's just, of course, people don't use their turn signals either. But it's something I'm sure that is still taught in driving school to new drivers, that you take that first lane.
We hope so.
Yeah, I don't know, because so many people don't do that. They do go wide and just
You're right.
go ahead and get in the lane. Just like you're not supposed to change lanes in the middle of an intersection if you're driving through a stop and go light. You're supposed to stay in that lane, even though you are in the left and you need to be in the right pretty quickly. You got to get through the light first and then proceed to the right lane.
There's just
Correct.
too much going on in the
Yeah,
intersection.
right,
You
right.
can't safely get that done. But,
Yeah.
but you're right. Are they teaching it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I would assume my kids just had it not too long ago. And
yeah,
they,
I mean,
I'm
my
pretty sure
kids
they were
continue to
taught
have it.
use it.
I mean,
My driving instructor used to always do this. If you didn't hit your turn signal, he'd be over there going ta-dink, 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 and you're like, oh,
what? Oh, okay.
But that's what he would
You
do.
got
He
the
was-
ta-dink.
He was real laid back. Yeah, he was like he was real
Yeah.
cool about it. He's like
Yeah.
ta-dink, ta-dink,
But
ta-dink.
with that, things that they taught us in school, this is the basic math, grammar, and they don't teach what they taught us back then. Maybe they're not
Right.
That's
doing
true.
the same thing, when
be.
we learned driver's ed.
And in driver's ed, we were taught at school driver's ed.
We were
And
too.
Now
Oh,
you
that's
have to
true,
go-
yeah.
You have to go to a private school.
That's true. That is true.
Interesting, because
My
I know.
dad taught driver's ed.
Oh yeah, I
He
bet.
told me some great stories.
No, I bet there's some great stories. Yeah.
He said one girl got in the car one of these days there, and she put her feet in like this, crossed. And he goes, "No, you need to do it the other way." And she goes, "He goes, get out, get out. We're done."
Now back then, did he have a steering wheel on his side and a brake on his
No,
side,
just
or just
a
a
brake.
brake?
Just a brake.
Just a brake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad's like, "Get out. We're done."
So was she able to come back and do, or
With
did she
with
have to
another
pick
instructor?
She had to
came
get a
back.
different instructor.
No, she did come back, but yeah,
That's awesome.
it was done for that day.
That is so funny. Get out. That is so funny. Well, I have a lot, and you all know this already. I'm a little bit of an angry elf.
No.
And
I
so-
know the elf part.
Yes,
Yes. Are you
No.
angry?
So a little. I mean, when it comes to driving,
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I
Okay,
will
okay.
stay in that lane closest to me when I make that turn. But I've immediately got my left turn signal on and I'm going, and I'm like all gas, trying to beat the guy who's trying to beat me, and now it's just, all etiquette is gone.
Yeah.
I
Still doing that?
Yeah, yeah.
Really?
I've
Yes.
seen the nicest people just get very angry in roadways, and I talk to drivers all the time myself, so I can't say.
You talk to drivers.
You talk to them
inside the privacy of your own.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Guilty.
I'm always saying
Guilty.
but
Yeah, we
I
know what
think
you're saying.
I think it
I guarantee he
alleviates.
says more than that.
Yeah, I think it alleviates a little of the pressure, though.
It does.
If you just talk a little bit to
It
yourself.
does. No question. And wouldn't we? Isn't that better though to yell and scream inside our own car?
Now-
Do not do that.
Now I have backed off, giving dirty looks, or one of these,
What was that, Mike? Can we get a replay on that? I need a slow mo replay on that, Mike, if you can, please.
like a badger, a honey badger. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't know nowadays. Somebody will just
In road rage,
whip a
exactly
pistol
it's
out
getting
and
worse and worse.
Yes.
People
That's
get
exactly
shot
right.
all the time,
Yeah.
and it's definitely not
never worth
any.
that.
Yes,
No.
absolutely.
I
Curt gives
people,
great advice. Go
Well,
ahead.
I just say, you're never going to be able to convince a judge and a jury 6 months to a year later. Just tell me, Dad, oh, Judge, you don't understand. He cut me off,
Right.
and I
Right.
was so mad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You
Yep.
never. I mean, I know the heat of the moment. I hear it. I know it.
And really, if it gets that bad, you just pull over.
Just
Right.
let them
Yeah.
go.
Exactly right.
30 seconds
It's not
makes
worth it.
all the difference in the world. And
Yeah.
they're gone, and they're out of your life, and you can move
30
on.
seconds later,
Yes.
you'll forget about it.
Yes.
for
You know, it's
Right.
over with. So
Right.
not worth ruining your life
No, for
or
sure.
anybody else's.
No, yeah, and today it's completely different than it was,
Right.
when we were growing up. So, be safe out there. So, then to expand on that, if you are turning in your lane, staying in your lane, you do signal when you get there, and this guy is catapulting. He's doing the Dale Earnhardt. He's coming out around you, bump drafting you. So, and there is an accident. I guess it depends on where your vehicles would hit, but would you be at fault if he's already in that lane
Yeah.
and you come over? You would
If
be,
he
wouldn't you?
established
If he's
himself in the
established.
lane. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though you really were doing it the right way. Just so you know.
You're right. I get you make an argument. You could make an
Right.
argument there, but
If he's
He's
established, yeah,
it's
you're
it's
going
one of
into
those,
his pathway.
I never worked a crash, and maybe you did, where it wasn't the person's fault who rear-ended the guy in front of them.
Yeah.
The only thing
Oh.
that I came close is a guy slammed his brakes on purpose.
Okay.
I did work this case, and because he was mad at the guy behind him, and they hit each other. And I wrote both of them because there is a state law in Indiana, you can't just brake for no reason. And so he went to court over it, and he got mad in court. And
Really?
So then you saw all the
yeah,
glory.
the judge said, "This is not a coffee
it.
house, sir, and you're not gonna." And that just absolutely killed him. It killed the case for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he saw that anger come out. His daughter got injured in that crash. The guy that slammed his brakes, he got rear-ended, and his daughter had to get transported to the hospital. It's not worth it.
It's
But
not
you're
worth
right,
it.
though. Both of them were at fault.
Yes, they
Yeah.
both received.
He
a
slammed
ticket.
on his brakes
Yes.
for no reason, and the other guy was following so closely
And
that
he
he
rear-ended him.
He rear-ended him.
The other guy was a teenager, and he admitted, "I shouldn't have been doing it."
Yeah.
He was very-
Again, with your just back off,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Take a few seconds.
calm down, take
Breathe.
a deep
Right.
breath.
Get a cherry Coke
Yeah.
later on.
You got it.
You know,
You
a little
got
bit
it.
later.
Now,
Yeah.
coupled with that, and we've had this conversation before about installing video cameras in
Yeah.
your car.
Yes,
It is
very good idea.
a great investment, and the technology is so cheap nowadays. It really is.
Well, it saved you with that. incident
Absolutely.
that Lori
Yeah,
had.
Lori was in a crash with Joe. This has been 4 or 5 years ago. It happened. The guy absolutely blew the red light or the stop sign and hit them square, teed them up, spun them around. All this is on video. And the guy gets out and comes up to Lori and he says, "Are you guys okay?" And he says, "Wow, you just blew right through that stop sign, didn't you?" And Lori said, "I got the video."
Yeah.
He turned around and walked away. And it proved beneficial. It really did. And like I said, the technology's cheap. Check into it.
Hard to
Yeah.
argue with the facts.
Easy to do. That's
Absolutely. The eye in the sky.
right. That's right.
So-
Very, very good. Well, good segment and good information, and stay close because we've got more about staying in your lane or staying on your path, and we'll have that coming up here on The General Store next. So the last segment we were talking about, some traffic details and good information about traffic, and really kind of the idea of staying in your lane and
Stay in your lane, bro.
yeah, and being, staying true to your path and staying in your path and on your path. So that brings me to some something that I've wanted to kind of talk to you guys about or let you guys share since we began the podcast, and that is, I know all of us here are believers and followers of Christ, and so I would love to hear your faith story. Like, for instance, Bill, like, did you always believe? Were you raised in a home where you were taken to church or went to church, and so God or Jesus was always a part of your life, or were you brought to Christ at an older age? How did that work?
Well, I was a cradle Catholic.
Oh.
And I went to church, 6 days a week. Went to St. Charles, for
okay.
8 years. So
Now, did you go to St. Charles School also? Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And every morning we'd start out in church.
Right.
I always loved it, when we'd get to be old enough to be altar boys, because in that way we could be late getting back to school. But anyway,
Membership has its privileges, right?
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
But my grandparents and my dad, and of course continued. We've always had of the Catholic faith.
Yes.
And I don't know. I kind of had questions that
Sure.
I had a time in my life about 93.
Mm-hmm.
My Marianne's grandmother passed away on a Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
My dad passed away on a Saturday, and her mother passed away on a Monday.
Oh, my heavens.
And I questioned.
Sure you did. Yeah.
I definitely had questions about everything. I just kind of fell away from everything. I was just mad. Just mad at the world. But then a friend of mine, friend of both Marianne and I, got us into the chrysalis community, and that changed a lot. Brought me back. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Brought both of us back.
Sure.
I mean, we were both questioning everything.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's hard to go through that loss of that many of your your loved ones, your
was
parents.
tough. It
My
was
goodness.
tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
So,
So do you attend church local or?
right now we're kind of looking around
Yeah.
different churches.
Then we're kind of like that too. Yeah.
So, but no, there's not any one specifically
Yeah.
that we're going to now.
Yeah. Very good. Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. Where you started and now where you're kind of ending up.
Yeah.
So, very good. Mark, what? Tell us a little bit about your faith journey.
Well, I was fortunate. I grew up in a Christian home. My parents went to a small community church, Mineral United Methodist. They're called Methodist, but it was just a community church, really.
Sure.
And I was blessed with some great Sunday school teachers. Arlen Fines, he's still going, and he's a great friend still. I've always told people if I could be like anyone as a role model, it would be him, because he's just such a good believer, good family man, did things the right way, And then Gail Williams and Leo Ramsey. I had such good role models at the church I grew up in, and that's where my dad always said, church will never hurt you.
Right.
Well, I went to college, and you start getting the world and things, and I strayed a little bit,
Sure.
And got away from the Lord and things. Nothing terrible, but not where I should be.
Sure.
In my life. And then my grandfather, who was a very strong Christian in Kentucky, he grew up in a small church, Mandeville Church in Kentucky. Curt's been to the church where my parents got married.
Yeah.
And it's a very small church.
Oh, it's very small.
In the
Look
middle
beautiful,
of
though.
absolutely nowhere. Yeah. But anyway, he was on his deathbed, and I went up. I was working in Chattanooga, Tennessee at this time, and I'd made the trip up to see him right before he had passed, and he knew his time was coming, and he was in there singing, "Jesus loves me," and he's on his deathbed in pain. I mean, he was suffering, but he just had such strength, and it totally made me realize I've got to get my act together.
Right.
I've got to get.
And you want some of that? I want some of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going. I know that's what I want to be when I'm in pain and hurting. I still know that the Lord's there for me. and that it totally changed me to the right way, and I've never strayed since. I mean, I've been there, and we still continue to go to church, and my kids go to church. I'm very glad about that, you know, and I've been blessed with a great family, great Christian family, and I enjoy going to church.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And Curt, I know you from early childhood, all your life, raised up. Yeah.
A cradle old Baptist, I guess. Grew up in the church. Don't remember ever not going. My great grandfather was a preacher, and it seemed like there wasn't a Sunday that went by that Mom wasn't saying, "Hey, we're going." We're going, and like your dad said, church, it can't hurt you.
Right.
Can't hurt you.
Right.
To go to church, so it's a good place to be. And
right.
And just growing, I was very, very fortunate to grow up in that environment and to hear the story, to hear the gospel, to hear the good news, the singing. So many good memories of that. But I remember when I was a teenager, my absolute hero during my teenage years was a guy by the name of Steve Alford. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or not.
I went to school with him.
That's right. You graduated with him. Yeah. And anyway, he headed up a
we're big buds.
Athletes in Action.
Oh yeah, that's what it was called.
Yeah, Athletes in Action.
Yeah.
So I got involved in that and knew hey, this stuff, this is the real deal. It's not just because Mom and Dad were taking me all the time. I was seeing it, especially through Steve and how he was living his life, and it was just an awesome way.
Wow, those Christian role models at that age, like a Tim Tebow or what have
goodness.
you, they're so important to those to kids.
You bring up Steve Alford. He went to church every Sunday. I saw him at church. I went to church, the same church he did here in Bloomington when he was there.
That's phenomenal.
Unless there was a game going on somewhere or something, but he was very.
He was
and see,
walking the walk.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I just
true.
knew that he was leading kids in
Victor
the area.
Oladipo is the same way.
Yeah.
He'd always sit with kids after Mass. So that's
Nice.
cool.
That's phenomenal.
Very nice.
That's for sure.
But you're right. That the importance of those role models,
Yeah.
It's huge.
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And of course, I think I've said this before, I was very fortunate to grow up around other families
Right.
Yeah.
that had, great marriages and dads that I could look up to and
Right.
say, that's how you treat your wife.
Right.
That's how you talk to your
Godly
daughter.
men.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was very,
where
very
I
fortunate.
was talking about earlier, Arlen Fines.
And I think,
It's just that
didn't
kind
you
of-
have, wasn't Paul Boer's dad one of your Sunday school teachers
yes.
too?
He was at my cousin's church, but I'd go there.
Okay,
When I
okay.
sleep overnight with
Yeah.
my cousin.
They were Church of Christ.
Yes, they
Okay,
were. That's
okay,
correct. That's
okay.
right.
Because Paul and I talked a lot about it, because I was raised Church of Christ.
Yeah, but
Gotcha.
he taught a little. He had a little Sunday school room in the back,
Yeah.
and we would go, and he would be the teacher there. Of course, he was a
He-
6th grade teacher also.
You told me
And
before.
I saw him just the other day. He's never changed a bit.
He used to tell you about having friends. He said something about you never have enough friends, or something like that.
I can't remember.
It stuck with me when
Yeah.
you told me that. I said,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's nice. That's
Yeah.
really nice."
Yeah.
So good
He's
stuff.
just as good as gold. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
good family.
Yeah.
When I got to see him the other day, he was locking his door, and I said, "You better lock that door. I'll get in and bother you." And he says, "I used to never lock my door, and then somebody stole my umbrella out of my car."
What is wrong with
And that's why we miss
Nothing is
Mayberry.
sacred.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why we miss Mayberry.
They wouldn't steal your
Umbrella.
No.
they wouldn't steal your umbrella in
They wouldn't
Mayberry.
steal anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Well, those are the good stories. I
Yeah.
too never remember Jesus not being in my life, and my mom and her side of the family, especially, very strong Christians. I was raised Church of Christ, and my birth date was July 5th, 1981. It's when I was baptized, but I grew up in the church and didn't know any different. However, I will say this. I was raised. Now, I'm glad I was raised Church of Christ, because there was some hellfire and brimstone, But at least the church I went to, there wasn't a lot of grace taught. And so I always questioned, even though I believed and had faith and all those things, I am a sinner. And so I didn't really think I was going to heaven because, my whole life.
Wow.
And so I knew, because I'm a sinner and I can't get it right, and all the things. And so I really wasn't taught that the grace. I think, now having said that, I think churches need to do both. I think you need to teach hell and heaven. And so it's
hell,
so strange.
hell that it's a real place.
No, yeah, exactly.
It's a real place.
Yes, that's what I mean.
There have been some that have tried to convince others that it's not real.
Oh no, yeah, exactly. There's a place for hell, and there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that Jesus died and was resurrected the third day for us to have salvation and eternal life through Him. So I will say, though, that Tom Ellsworth helped me through a little bit. Tom Ellsworth was really the first one that kind of opened my eyes to it's a gift. Salvation is a gift from God. You can't earn it. There's nothing you can ever do to earn heaven. And so then...
My great-grandfather used to say, if he had to raise one finger up, then it's not a gift.
No, right.
To get it. If you have to do anything to get
we can't.
it's not a gift.
No, yes. And it is a gift. It says it in the Bible.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
So then, but when COVID hit, I was, my whole life, I was never as close to Jesus as I am now. And when COVID hit, I found Pastor Jack that I talk about and share him a lot. And he's a real true Bible teacher. Like, he can break every single word down. It's verse by verse expositional teaching, and it's really brought me closer. I understand the word now. Before I could read the Bible, didn't get it. I get it now, and
Wonderful.
So it's So now I'm giddy for Jesus. I mean, like, let me tell you about my Jesus. I mean, I just want to talk about him all the time. So anyway, so
you're not moving to California, are you?
I would. I'd like to at least, because that's where he's at.
Have you been there?
Is Chino
have
Hills.
you been?
No.
No.
I keep telling the boys in Perry I'd like to go, but I don't really want to fly that far, especially commercially right now. But anyway,
What do you mean?
Oh, is that a hit for Sky King?
right,
there you go.
Right, exactly. Maybe Griffin can fly us out there at some point.
Right.
But having said that, he's at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills in California. So
Nice.
I've not had the opportunity to sit actually in the congregation, but we watch him online, and so he's brought all of us closer to God. And
Excellent.
Can I ask you
taught
a
us
question?
more. Yeah.
Where were you baptized? Where, as far as a place?
I was baptized in the baptismal at my church that I grew up in, Hillside Church of Christ on Hillside Drive in Bloomington. Yeah.
How about you, Curt?
Rattlesnake Creek
Nice.
in Owen County.
Nice. How about you, Bill?
Out of St. Charles.
Yeah.
I was at Plummer Creek in Monroe, Indiana.
Monroe.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's right. It's a suburb of Bloomfield.
I like it.
So yeah.
Plumber.
That's actually
I know where it's at.
Yeah.
that's actually a real hope of mine that we can get out to Chino Hills, California. Pastor Jack does a huge baptism every year in the Pacific Ocean, and
that's
baptizes like thousands of people right there at the shore. And I really want to go out. I want to get baptized again, because I don't feel like I just feel like it would be good for me in my walk.
Our goal is to go back to Israel and get baptized.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That's what Renata and
I'd love
to do.
that. That would be awesome.
The country.
Yeah, Israel. Yep, that's awesome.
So,
Very good.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing those stories with me. We never talked about that. I mean, I knew we were all believers, but I'd never really heard your faith story and your walk and your journey. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Appreciate you guys.
Yep, absolutely. Brothers and sisters in Christ.
Amen.
Amen. And thank you for joining us this week. We hope, if it's the Lord's will, we'll be back next Friday, and we'll hope you'll join us again. So please like, share, subscribe, and
All those things.
all the things. And we'll see you again next time here on The General Store.